Hey, hello, welcome to Signal Noise Podcast. My name is Brian Lamar, your co-host, along with Andrew DeSilva. Hello, sir.
Ryan, I feel like it's been forever since I have recorded. I basically just went into like a wedding and honeymoon black hole and wasn't around, and I'm so glad to be back.
It's been probably a month, right? It's right at a month or close to
I
it.
think so. I think so. That's crazy.
Should we catch up on personal stuff or professional stuff? What do you want? Where do you want to start?
Well, I think I kind of just let the cat out of the bag on
Yeah,
personal. Well, and you were building it up on our previous episodes. I think in
yeah,
every client call that we
yeah.
were on, you let everyone know about my imminent nuptials. But yeah, so got married on May 23rd. Everything was perfect. Everything was wonderful. Brian was there in a tuxedo, looking fabulous.
Oh, so I told you I think it might be the best wedding I've ever been to,
Thank you.
and we were talking about it the other night about with a bunch of people, former coworkers of ours, and we'll get into that when we get into the professional updates. But just amazing wedding. It was beautiful, and obviously your bride's amazing. And you did so many little touches in your wedding with your children and family and friends. It was just beautiful. It was well done. I wouldn't expect anything less. But it was outstanding. You had a dinner jacket, which was my one of my favorite things, that you actually got to wear a dinner jacket, of course.
Anyone who knows me should have fully expected the dinner jacket to come
Right.
out.
That was beautiful. And then you went on a vacation. I don't even know about this. I mean, I know where you went, but I don't know anything else.
Okay, so I've got two stories. You actually haven't even heard this one, and our
No.
listeners will love this. Okay, so first of all, yes, went on a honeymoon, went to Italy. Overall, absolutely fantastic. We did Venice, we did Florence, we did Rome, we did Positano, we did Capri. Saw all the sites. Right, I studied abroad in Italy, and Brooke had never been, so we were able to kind of hit. We're not going to fly all the way over there, and she's not going to see Venice, not going to see
Right.
Colosseum.
Right.
That's just not what we were going
Right. You
to
have
do.
to.
So we did kind of like 6 days of intense sightseeing, 4 days kind of vegging out and partying on the Amalfi.
It's perfect.
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. One story, American Airlines lost our baggage for 6 days after we were delayed. It was supposed to take us 11 hours to get to Venice. It took almost 24 hours. And during the delays, they lost three out of our four bags. They even lost one of the like gate checked bags. So that
Oh,
that was fun. So if anyone has an airline brand tracker or concept test or
NPS. Yeah.
NPS. Yeah, if you need me to respond to anything, you all know I travel a lot for work. I have opinions on airlines. I am a
Yeah.
scholar. Um, and the customer service was just absolutely horrendous.
Oh no.
Where my bags were, it was crazy. It all culminated in me taking €110 2.5 hour round trip taxi to the Rome airport to pick up the bags myself. So it was quite the saga. Anyone who wants to trade travel horror stories or airline horror stories, I am here for it. But we eventually got the bags. Brooke got to go shopping for new clothes in Venice. Poor her,
I
right?
know. Yeah.
So all's well that ends well. But I have a fantastic story for you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we are in the Sistine Chapel, right? Lovely, beautiful. I didn't make it there last time that I was in Italy. This is my first time in the Sistine Chapel, accumulating the appropriate amount of neck pain, right? Looking up and
Yeah.
seeing Adam trying to touch God's finger and all that kind of stuff. Then all of a sudden, there's a little bit of commotion, right? And the museum guards are talking to one another. And then some Vatican police show up. They're all talking. Then we later learned the Vatican Special Police show up. These guys are in like blacked out plain clothes, but they have the earpieces in, right? Like Secret Service earpieces. They're all talking to each other. Everyone's kind of looking around. There's like 8 of them. Everyone's looking around like, what's going on? What's going on? And all of a sudden they walk directly up to Brooke and I. And it's, excuse me, can I see your ID? Was it, like, can I see your document? What? Like, and in my head, I'm like, I didn't take a picture. I didn't, like, what did I do?
Yeah.
I
Is this the Vatican City ICE? You don't know.
right? Like, what's going on? And so they, I have our driver's license. The driver's licenses, copies of the passports, all this stuff. Just to hand them to them. So, okay, can you please come with us? I'm like, wait, I guess so, right? Everyone's looking at us. We get escorted out of the Sistine Chapel. Okay. Through this like secret door where there's like a panel in the wall that's actually a security door. We go in this like tunnel, pop out of the tunnel. We're in an area of the Vatican that's like I haven't seen. It's not, like a scary tunnel. We're walking. I keep trying to ask the guy, I'm like, what's going on? Is there a problem? What do we do?
This is like Angels and Demons.
Something. And he says, he's like, no problem, random, controllata. And it's like I start speaking Italian because I'm like, dude, like you're going to tell me what's wrong. And I basically say, I'm like, this isn't random. You have our IDs and did not give them back. Where are we going? And they just keep saying in English. He won't speak back to me in Italian. He's like, no problem, random, control, which controllata in Italian is like it's like a random immigration security check. That's kind of like where they use that word, right?
Yeah.
That's not what's going on. So we walk up to this other big group of police and they hand them our IDs like, wait here. But there's like 4 dudes waiting with us, okay? So like we are not free to leave. We do not have our IDs back. The guy comes over and he says, so where were you on Friday night? And I'm like, whoa, what do you mean where was I? I was like, we were in Florence. Like, what's going on? And so he's like, can you prove you were in Florence on Friday night? Yes. So I pull out my phone. I show him the train tickets, the hotel reservations. I go to the photos, right, and show up. We're like drunk at the Duomo at 2 a.m. on
Right.
It's like, here are the photos. You can look at like the geolocation, like what's going on. That's again. So what's going on? And he says, don't worry, control. And I'm like, okay, we are clearly not in a random check situation. So then he takes my phone and walks away. So now this guy has my ID, my phone, and all these guys, they're like going through my phone, looking at our IDs. They keep looking up at us, looking back down, looking. They're all talking. He comes back over and is okay. Well, like, when did you enter the country? When did you? They're asking us all these questions, right? And so we're, like Brooke thinks we're gonna get thrown into the gulag. Like she's super upset. I'm really upset too because I'm like, I don't. Italian's good enough to navigate like an international security situation,
Right.
And so eventually, this guy in a suit comes over, and his English is really good. And he says, he's like, he says, I am so sorry. And he says, I forget what his name was, because I'm so sorry. I'm the commissioner of the Vatican Special Police. And he said, this has been a huge mistake. But there was a couple who made terrorist threats against the Vatican on Friday. And you look so much like him, and she looks so much like her, that we were sure you were them. Because you both looked like the part of this couple. Like,
whoa.
And he was like, you are clearly Americans on your honeymoon. And we are so sorry. And then he said, to make it up to you, is there anywhere you would like to go in the Vatican? And so we got to do, like, we went to the grottos, we went to the top of the dome, we skipped the 2-hour line for St. Peter's Basilica. It was kind of, after being scared shitless for 8 minutes, like the coolest thing that could have happened. And all those other things, like there's like paid tours and there's lines, and we literally like, this dude was definitely the commissioner of the special police because no one even checked his ID. He just walked everything.
Right.
And like it was
He was your personal like tour guide?
I mean, he wasn't like giving us the details, but he was walking around with us, letting us into everything. It was one of the best stories, and getting to see the Vatican like that was one of the coolest experiences.
Wow.
But I
What an incredible story. Now you have to add this to your list of two truths and a lie that you were accused of being a terrorist and plotting to overthrow the Pope
I
in
was
Italy.
detained by the Swiss Guard.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
The,
and this is after you'd already been through your luggage situation, so you're probably on like
I
what
still
else
don't
could go
have
wrong?
yeah, I still don't have the bags at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the bags that night. Um,
Wow.
it was another fun fact. I don't know if you know this, but the Secret Service came to our wedding. So this is also two truths and a lie. JD Vance was flying home,
Yes.
like CVG or from somewhere,
Yeah, I
like
remember that.
in his helicopter, right? He was going to go home while our photographer had a drone up. And so the Secret Service
Your
came.
wedding is about probably less than a mile from where he lives.
I know. I know. So they were not happy about the drone. So anyway, anyone who listens to our podcast is barred from playing two truths and a lie with me because those two things are definitely the two truths and my two truths and a lie.
Well, they always say that your wedding and all that goes around with it, to perfect the imperfections are the greatest parts of the story, right? I don't know if they meant those stories, but what an amazing. I'm glad that at least the one in the Vatican turned out positively.
Yeah.
Man, what you got to find out too if there's an arrest, if the Swiss Guard arrests some people and compare your
Well,
pictures
that's
to
yeah.
them.
Brooke keeps checking online because she's like, I just want to know if she's pretty or not.
Right. Wow.
I'm sure
Well,
she is, dear. I'm sure she is.
I'm sure you have so many other great stories. I can't wait to catch up on a
Yep.
deeper level. And I'm so happy for you guys. I've told you before, your wife is just amazing, and meeting her family and your extended family was just, I mean, it was a privilege to kind of be there,
Thank you.
and it was so much fun. So congratulations again, and
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
And thank you to our listeners for indulging that much of the story. Hopefully,
Yeah,
it was entertaining. It was very entertaining for us. So
I doubted it, but it was doing the 30-second fast forwards on that one, like I do sometimes. The 30, I bet they listened all the way through.
yeah.
That's awesome. I wanted to talk a little bit about the baseball game the other night.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, this is a little bit more personal too, I guess, sort of. So Verisoul, who I bet 9 months ago, not many people have heard of Verisoul. Now I bet most everyone, their Q rating is through the roof. Their brand awareness is really high. They, if you know Verisoul, they're a fraud platform, newer to the industry. Some former Bain guys are awesome guys. They've kind of come in the industry and made some waves and done some really cool events at conferences and in cities. We were part of one in Cincinnati that took us to dinner, which was incredible. It's a whole another story. And we went to another dinner in Hoboken, New Jersey, around an Insight Association conference, and they've just been an amazing addition to the market research community, and just bringing energy and a lot of good brains and smart people, and a solution that's another option out there for people. And they decided, which just sounds ridiculous, they decided they wanted to take every market researcher in Cincinnati out to the baseball game, the Cincinnati Reds baseball game the other night. So they bought 1,000 tickets. They get to throw out the first pitch, and you're like, oh wow, that's a pretty cool event. That's just the tip of the iceberg of what they did. They invited everybody. So if you're probably aware of Cincinnati is just a market research hub, which is one of the reasons they did it, I'm sure. But there's probably 10 market research companies headquarters in Cincinnati, if not more. Probably another 10 to 20 at least have some sort of presence here, an office to support Procter and Gamble or Kroger or the other big brands that are here. And then there's probably a lot of people who work from home here in Cincinnati also that work at other companies. And so this thing kind of went viral, and I bet there were 40 different companies represented at this Reds game, and it was so much fun. I've got to see a lot of former coworkers, clients, people I've mentored, every person that you meet over the 25 years you catch up with, and it was just so much fun. I know you couldn't be there for it's a over an hour drive for you anyway, so it was tough to get there. But I wanted to kind of shout out Verisoul. Um, and then we also somehow the Insights Association, Anita Watkins, decides to show up. She lives not that far away from here, but she brought part of her leadership team to the game, and so I mean, I get to hang out with Anita Watkins and just get to know her better. And she's still really new in this role. She replaced Melanie Courtright as head of the Insights Association, and she's wonderful. She's going to do some amazing things. I'm really excited. But one of the things I wanted to mention is that, well, first of all, Verisoul had all these other things going on. They're throwing T-shirts into the crowd, and most researchers brought their family. There's a lot of kids there and researchers' families. That was really cool to see. But they also had this bingo game, which was really smart. And so most people were playing bingo, and it was like, if there's a double play, if there's a home run, if this happens. So I wasn't playing bingo. I was just trying to say hi to people, but most people were. And my goal was to find someone going to get bingo, because if you got bingo, the entire row got free ice cream, free Grater's ice cream. Grater's is like the premium ice cream in Cincinnati. It's kind of famous. So I found a random stranger who, by the way, they gave tickets to this game on the flight to Cincinnati. And she just happened to be on the flight from with them, and they gave out tickets on the plane, which is kind of cool. And so I'm sitting next to a random person, not even in the industry, and all she needs is a Reds to score run, and she's getting bingo. So I'm like, I'm camping out next to her so I can get the free ice cream, right? I'm getting the bingo. Well, I guess there's a lot of bingo cards that were very similar. The Reds score, and I'm not even kidding. I think there's video of this. I bet 200 people got bingo at the exact same time. So Verisoul, who thinks probably, oh, one person will get bingo, we're buying, 20 little cups of ice cream. That's $100 little giveaway, right? No, the entire section got bingo and immediately starts cheering. It was the loudest cheer in the stadium by far, 1,000 people cheering for getting bingo. And all of a sudden, all of us just left the section and got in line to get ice cream. Wow. So the section clears out. The line to get ice cream is hundreds of people long. I yelled at a CEO of a company in Cincinnati to stop cutting, get in the line with her children, jokingly. But I was in the line with Anita, and who's just wonderful to talk to. If you ever get a chance to talk to Anita, she's just very warm and welcoming, and she'll talk to anybody. And I was like, this is just amazing, isn't it? And I know this is her second Verisoul event, because we had dinner with her in Hoboken, New Jersey, at that conference. And when I sat next to her, and she said, I'm meeting with our leadership team tomorrow to think of how we can kind of match this energy with the energy they bring to the industry and to communities and to researchers, and building a sense of community, which Cincinnati is a research community. Very incestuous, but we all are friendly with each other and know each other, and we built our lives around each other. And she's like, I want to somehow, how do I bottle this and do it for our events? And I was thinking about it, and most conferences have a wire event or an Insights Association happy hour, or this sort of, someone will sponsor a happy hour. And I mean, how often do you go to those things? Sometimes
I go to a couple of them a year, not all the time, but yeah.
Same. I'll go to them sometimes. But let me tell you, if Verisoul is sponsoring a happy hour, there's 100% chance I'm gonna go, because you never know what might happen at that happy hour, right?
Right.
If there's an Insights Association wants to match that, like, what can we do from our perspective to kind of bring people to an event, or bring people to a happy hour, bring people to a networking event or some content, and bring some energy and bring something like that. And I thought that was really cool, that they're changing the industry, hopefully in a good way, in like getting more people to attend these functions and alternative events where you can network and fun and sense of community. And I'm really passionate about the marketing research community, having spent my whole career in it. And so it was really fun. Shout out to Verisoul, shout out to the Insights Association, all the other companies that were there. I talked to a billion people that night. I didn't even know the score until the Reds scored, finally. But yeah, that's the little story I wanted to share. Is So Verisoul's coming to your town. Don't turn them down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and on top of that too, not possible to say enough good things about their team, their product.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely wonderful. And maybe this opens up kind of the meatier part of our conversation. We're going to call this Verisoul, venture funding, and the Vatican Police. Will be
okay,
the name of our episode. If you like a little
yeah,
alliteration there. Um, Obviously, if I go to my boss and I say, "Hey, I've got a business development idea. I want to buy 1,000 tickets to a baseball game."
yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna get laughed out of that office pretty darn quick. And kind of same thing. Remember a couple months ago, Verisoul did billboard ads at Times Square with a whole bunch of
yeah. That's right.
everyone was posting the pictures of their logo in Times Square, right? And this is all really fun. It's amazing for the community, right? But this is possible, of course, because of the and whether it's like Angel or PE or exactly how they did it to be
Yeah.
transparent. I don't know the details, but I know that I think it was like $9 million in Series A, right?
Okay.
So a big chunk of change.
It's public. We could Google it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But, traditionally, most of the organizations in our industry are founder owned. They are maybe an ESOP. They've been around for quite some time. We do see some big funding coming in for some sample companies, but it all gets spent on like tech build out, on
Yes.
recruitment, things like that. It's kind of uncommon for us to have this sexy, fun tech money vibe in our space. And so you and I talked about this a little bit over coffee yesterday morning, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to reopen that conversation around like it's probably good for the industry, but what does a traditional player who doesn't have cash to burn like this
Yeah.
do when next door you have someone buying
Yeah.
1,000 tickets to a Reds game?
Right. I love this topic. I've been on a soapbox about this topic since we went to some conferences. And I noticed that I went to a few conferences back to back to back. And I noticed all these companies I've never heard of before are presenting. It's a lot of AI moderated, qualitative, synthetic data, new techniques. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm scrambling. Who is this company? And they're not, they're presenting at the conference. I need to know who they are. They're co presenting with a giant brand. And wow, this looks pretty cool. And I thought, oh, well, a lot of these conferences, I'm not going to name them, but many of them are pay for play, right? It's expensive to hold a conference.
Yep.
And if you sponsor a conference, it's generally an easy way to get on stage. And if you have Series A funding or venture capital money funding or whatever, you can get on stage, and which is a great opportunity. And that's what the money is used for, is to build brand awareness and to um, capabilities and to expose yourself to the industry. And there's a lot of that happening. And also, IX is an innovation conference, right? I mean, that's what it stands for, is innovation. So I shouldn't be surprised when I go there and there's 30 companies I haven't heard of. That should be the reason you go to IEX, is to find 30 companies you haven't heard of before. But it's a lot of companies you haven't heard of, capabilities you haven't heard of, and new people you don't really know getting on stage and talking. And I keep thinking, man, what are the traditional companies doing? Like you said, we're not going to buy 1,000 tickets to a baseball game. I think we would be great on stage at a conference talking about our expertise around data quality and sampling and best practices and blending sample and tracking studies and pitfalls in sampling, digital fingerprinting dashboards. We've studied them. Synthetic sample. We've got our hands a little dirty in synthetic sample. We have a POV on that. I think we could teach people things that is valuable to them. I would love to go to a conference, and I have a couple times, but I'd love to go to a conference and hear Brad Franz speak. He works at Burke. He leads sampling at Burke, one of the greatest companies, honestly, in the history of our industry. I
Yep.
want to hear someone from Burke speak about topics they're great at because they can make me better. They can make our industry better. I want to hear experts at companies that are the traditional companies that are doing the work. They've got primarily got their heads down, just like I did for most of my career. I wasn't attending conferences and wasn't doing a lot of the events. I was doing my freaking job till 7 p.m. every night and just doing the freaking work. I want to hear from those people. I want to learn from those people. We all know those companies that have been around that our industry is low margin, right? It's hard. What was it yesterday that someone said that we have a process, but the process will inevitably break?
Yep.
That's everybody's process in marketing research. We all build processes. Almost every day, our processes break because so many things happen out of our control, and we have to be creative problem solvers, which then makes us spend more money and more time and more effort and build more things that we can't afford to spend $1,000 on Reds tickets for the community. I want to hear from those people. I wish there was an ability to do that. That's my little high horse based upon what you just mentioned. And I don't want to sound too negative, but I think there's an opportunity to hear more of the traditional players and how they're doing things and educate the industry because we are in a tough time in our freaking industry right now. Our industry is being inundated with new players, new techniques. Artificial intelligence is affecting every freaking process we're doing. We're building synthetic sample, we're building synthetic moderators, we're building synthetic everything.
Yep.
And our job is to give confidence to brands to make decisions, to give insights to our clients so they make educated decisions based upon feedback from others. And it is a tough time in our industry to kind of navigate this. And we need to make educated decisions on what techniques are best, where we are with this new innovation, who these new companies are, who's going to emerge to be the billion-dollar player in that world, and who we should hitch our wagon to. How do we navigate that? And so I really don't know what the point of that is. It's just like, it was just a thought I had and that you had, I think, as well. And I'd love to hear your thoughts based upon my little 5-minute rant I just did.
Yeah, no, always good to have a research rant. So first of all, I agree with everything that you said there, but want to kind of push back again with
Yeah.
is it net good or net bad?
Yes.
Yes, because I think so too. Because when you frame the problem the way that you did, and again, I agree.
Yeah.
It sounds like oh, all the traditional researchers, all the rigorous methodologists, all of the data scientists and survey scientists and sampling scientists, like, well, we don't get a seat at the table because we don't have cash to burn. We can't be
Right.
loud because we don't have cash to burn. And these
Exactly.
tech people who don't understand our space are coming in, they're throwing money around.
Right.
A legit panel company gets bought by a private equity firm, and all of a sudden they've got a 20-foot balloon inflatable at a conference, and everyone's wearing neon shoes. Right? We've seen that 3 times.
Yes.
And so, they who are loudest are the ones with the most funding cash, because it's not even the companies in our space. Like you said, inherently market research tends to be thin margins. The ownership structures tend to be relatively dispersed. So it's not even like, the biggest companies in our space. Like, I haven't seen Ipsos or Nielsen do some giant crazy thing.
Right.
I mean, let's put, Ryan Smith and Qualtrics X4 in it.
Yeah. He's a little bit outlier. Yeah.
That's different. But yeah, it's just different. Our industry is not wired for that, because it's not like even how profitable you are, how big your company is. It's like, who has the most outside money? That's who's presenting at conferences. That's who has the cool booths. That's who's doing the cool events. So there's kind of this like, oh, it's unfair, or the right people have the microphone. But at the same time, like, it can only be good that investment in our space is happening.
Yep.
Innovation in our space is happening. New ideas, new thinkers, new talent are coming into our space. So, okay, so I'm saying this, your head's nodding, right? I think our listeners' heads are.
Yeah.
But so if you're one of the folks who works for a traditional firm, like, what are you to do? How do we, like you said, Anita Watkins Insights Association, how do we bottle some of that light?
Right.
How do we get a microphone and a seat at the table?
Yep. And I think there's another part of this that is we've talked about, or I've talked about this before. We've talked about this before. We are not an accredited industry. So somebody today could give somebody $10 million and said, "Let's go freaking shout on stages and make noise in the industry." They can do it. They don't have to pass a test. They don't have to go to get extended credits and learning every year, like a doctor or an attorney does. And that is an advantage for our industry because now it's easy to enter our industry, right? Anybody can. You have a good idea and it works in some other industry, we will freaking steal it and leverage it in a freaking heartbeat because there's no barriers.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of that model. The disadvantage is anybody can kind of act like an expert and proclaim it on every main stage in the industry, and some people might believe it when they may not be. They might have really cool technique. So what can we do is your original question. What can we do to kind of, and I think we've tried. I think that you and I have tried to do a lot of creative things. And then maybe that's what it is. You have to kind of do the work. You have to build credibility. You have to have someone tell that story. You can't keep it to yourselves. A lot of companies just keep it themselves. Like we don't know all the successes that a lot of companies have because they share it internally and they share it with their client base. They're not going and sharing those secrets on a main stage. That's intentional, right? Maybe Brad Franz from Burke isn't going to go on a main stage because they have techniques that win them work that they don't want to share. There's probably a lot of that, right? That as much as I like to hear from Brad, the ownership of Burke doesn't want Brad to do that, right? The clients of Burke don't want him to do that, maybe. And I'm just theorizing, and I love Brad and just using him as an example to represent lots of similar issues, but you have to get creative, you have to get credibility. I don't know. Beyond that, I don't know. You have to have good messaging and be loud and hope it resonates. But a lot of the people that we're trying to sell to and try to get to listen to us are just doing their jobs and doing the work. They're not on LinkedIn reading LinkedIn blogs, and they don't have time to sit around and listen to this podcast, right?
Yeah.
And they're not going to the conferences. It's word of mouth and it's experiential. I know it's tough. I don't know. I'd like to hear from our listeners.
Yeah.
Do you agree and disagree? I could be very wrong. I mean, there's a little bit of this is both good and bad to this conversation. There's challenges with it. And this is not the first time this has happened. There's been other disruptors and innovation and money. I mean, I'm not going to complain about giant amounts of millions of dollars of investment on our industry, right?
Right.
That's amazing. I don't know.
Yeah, it was an open-ended rhetorical question, right? I don't think
Yeah.
that I have the answer either.
Yeah.
But just something to think about, something to consider, and to kind of compare the volume of speakers, perhaps with what's going on financially, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a reason that people pay to sponsor conferences, right? If someone is on stage at a conference, you assume that it is because they have something really smart and true to say that has been very
Yeah.
works and all that kind of stuff. And it might not be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. We love our partners at Verisoul. We're a Verisoul partner. Again, only good things to say about that. Overall, I definitely think it's a net positive to have money coming into our space, but it's definitely a stark contrast between kind of the steady, like the figurehead organizations of our industry,
Yeah.
and then those who just got funding, right?
Yep. It's a
I
cool
think,
topic.
yeah, yeah. I think that's all I have to say about that, though. What is there anything else on the docket, Brian?
Not really.
How's
That's
AI
what I
going
was saying.
for you? How's AI
That's what
going for you? We haven't said AI.
AI.
We didn't say
Um,
AI yet in this entire podcast.
AI is amazing. You can build so much cool stuff. I'm building a personal website. I'll I'll launch it soon. But I can just build such cool stuff. No, it's a lot of tokens and it takes a little time. But things that I couldn't even dream of building, I can build now. I can build a website and really cool things that are useful for people. and I hope that's how other people are using it, is how do I compile all of this information in something easy for someone to absorb? Like in my community, I identified every single locally small owned business in my community, and I built basically a website where if somebody wants to shop local, you can filter by what type of business you want to go to, where is it located, what neighborhood, who do I contact, what are their hours. I built that in a couple hours. It's incredible. I can't wait to launch it. And I'll update it when new businesses open and close, and I hope people use it. But like those things are anybody can do now. And so it's such an opportunity for people to build value and solve problems and identify things that were frustrating. That's how maybe hopefully people are thinking about this. What frustrates you in life? Can AI fix it? Maybe. Because we can do so many things. I couldn't tell you anything about HTML coding and building a website, but I can build a freaking good prompt and I can have them build it and I can review it and edit it really quickly. And I did a lot of other things, not inside of marketing research, and done things outside of marketing research for my personal life, just like you have probably. I don't know. What about you? Have you got back into it yet after kind of month?
No, I
Yeah.
basically have had a month off of anything other than wedding planning.
Yeah.
I will say though, I've been back for about a week or two now. Finally, have my head on straight.
Yeah.
Finally in the rhythm of things. Yeah, so I will dive back in. I'm sure that everything has made a complete step change in capability since the last time I was
Yeah. Well, another
all
thing I
in.
built, I think I mentioned this to you in a chat or text, but we're members of the University of Georgia Master's of Marketing Research program, and those students graduated in May and went elsewhere and they got full-time jobs. Congratulations to them. I was in their shoes 26 years ago, and I was thinking, someone asked me, why should I move to Cincinnati? So if you're from wherever, any town in the USA, and you go to the University of Georgia and you get a job offer from a Procter and Gamble or a Burke or a Market Vision or a Directions Group or Kroger or 8451 or the Living Room, I can keep going. We keep going for a while. Why should they move here? And I built a website on here's all the companies in Cincinnati. Here's their size. Here's how their ownership looks. Here's the brands. Here's the quantitative companies. Here's the qualitative companies. Here's cool things about Cincinnati. I mean, I built that. It didn't take me very long to build that. And do I just give that away to the University of Georgia? Do I present that to students? Do I just put it on a website and post about it on LinkedIn? I don't know. But like things like that I could do, and I'm passionate about it, obviously. I'm passionate about Cincinnati and marketing research and mentoring and hoping people finding the right job in the right place for them. And so that kind of fits my brand and what I'm passionate about. But like little things like that, I'm hoping people are doing. Yeah, kind of cool. I'm excited to see what you're building because you have different niches. I mean, with all of your different things that you're passionate about, how are you going to be leveraging AI in the future to kind of make your life easier or people in your community easier? Um, and that's kind of fun to think about, because it's not just our job. This is our lives now. AI is our life.
Yeah,
I don't just wake up in the morning and think, how am I going to use AI at work?
right.
That's this is just what
Yeah,
I do. It's my routine now.
yeah, all areas of your life. Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
some irons in the fire. Hopefully, some
Yeah.
fun projects to be able to share. Now that I have a more reasonable amount of time on my hands.
Yeah.
We'll do an AI episode here soon, and maybe we can even screen share, get some more people over to YouTube and show some of the things we've been working on.
Yeah. Oh, we announced a new webinar coming up. I don't even think you're aware of this, but it's July 9th. July 9th, there's a webinar around the trust deficit in our industry, around trusting a sample.
Very
And
interesting.
Judd Serlin is joining me. I cannot wait for this webinar because Judd, if you don't know Judd, he's worked in this space for a long time. He heads up our panel team. He's amazing. And I don't think we're going to pull any punches. We're going to talk about why legitimate sample supply is disappearing and what we're going to do about it. Are you excited about that one?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love
July
it.
9th, 1 p.m. Look on social. We'll promote it heavily in the next couple weeks. But anyway, thanks for listening. Andrew, good to catch up with you.
Yep.
I want to hear more stories soon about Italy and marriage. And we'll do maybe another episode. We'll do more personal stuff. We haven't done that in a while. But But thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.